Hey guys, it's Kinsey. So I've been procrastinating making a video like this for a while. A lot of people have been requesting me to make like an all about my horses video because I have a lot of horses and it gets a little bit confusing for people that, you know, aren't around here all the time, even for like my personal friends in my life. I want to make one of those videos and I had one filmed, but then all of this happened, so I kind of wanted to just make a video clearing everything up because I honestly really wouldn't feel right going from making videos with Tiny in them and, you know, day in my life riding my horse and taking my horse to lessons, and in a haul video where I said all my plans with him and all my posts, to just an all about my horses video without him in it. Today, I'm going to tell y'all his story and what happened to him. So first off, I want to make a disclaimer and say that I'm going to never monetize this video. I'm never going to make a cent off of this video. This is strictly to just say, just to clarify things and kind of for like closure. I've cried pretty much every day for the past month about it, so I'm really gonna give it my best shot and try to... Okay, I need to get a tissue. This is basically just gonna be a video about Tiny's story, how he came into my life, and you know, the end. So this is taking me a lot to pull it together and make this video because this whole situation has been really hard for me and hard for basically everyone around me because everybody loved him. So in July 2019, which was this past year, it's March 2020 now, I was kind of getting out of riding, honestly. Not really because of anything that the horses had done, just because of, you know, personal reasons. I obviously, like, I'm probably never going to be happy in my life without horses, so I was miserable, but for some reason I convinced myself that I didn't need horses in my life. I don't know. It was a weird time. I just finished my freshman year of college, and I moved out of my parents' house for the first time, and in doing that I left my horses. Obviously they were, you know, being taken care of and stuff, but I came back to ride every once in a while, but I didn't have much interest in showing. I guess I should say that I still had interest in horses, but I didn't have interest in showing and pursuing a career in horses. Around July 2019, I was just in the kitchen, you know, making dinner or whatever. I think I had just gotten off of work or something, and my stepdad just randomly brought up that his old farrier had a horse that used to be an eventer that was for sale, and that he was interested in buying it to be a project horse for me and my sister to do and, you know, just have a little bit of fun with as a cheap horse, and probably I could make some money off of it because, you know, that's how it goes. At that point, I had kind of realized, like, after many crying nights, you know, getting on the phone with my boyfriend and just like crying till like you couldn't cry anymore about how much I missed horses, I was like, you know what? Maybe I just need something new. Like, maybe I just need a new project to like light my spark or whatever. I was really interested in the fact that he used to be an eventer too, and I decided that I was just gonna start working with him. So the person that had sold us Tiny was my stepdad's old farrier, and he used to do polo, and which is like, if you don't know what that is, it's like basically like golf on horseback, and you pretty much need a small horse. So he had no use for a horse that was 17 hands and a thoroughbred, and he had gotten him from a horse trader. So I'm not saying any hate about horse traders or whatever, that's just like the facts. So he was about 300 pounds underweight when we got him, and at the point that we got him, he had already been gaining a bunch of weight. So, you know, there's no telling what kind of state he was in before my stepdad's old farrier got him. Honestly, I don't want to know. In August is when he came to our house, and I pulled up in the driveway, I guess just coming home from wherever I was, and there was a skinny little chestnut horse with a huge hunter's bump, which if y'all don't know what that is, it's like a bump on the horse's back that just like protrudes. It's from like a past injury. And you know, he went into me as like, got out of my truck, and I was like, okay, I like you. I went inside and got him a carrot and went back outside and tried to give it to him and figured out that he didn't know how to eat treats. So there's that. So at this point we hadn't bought him yet, and we were just kind of, you know, trialing him out and seeing if we liked him, and he was just going to be at our house for like a week, and then we could be like, hey, yeah, we want him, or no, we don't. So yeah, there was no telling what this horse had been through. He had a really sweet soul, and you could tell that, but you know, he was a hard keeper, but it's like there's really no excuse for a horse being that underweight. That's not okay in my opinion. So anyways, that same day, my stepdad was like, okay, like one of y'all needs to ride him to see what he's like under saddle and if it's something that we can work with. So I got on him in our indoor arena because it was raining, or it was really wet outside or something. I don't remember, but I didn't even know his name at this point. Let's just be completely honest. I had no idea what his name was, but I got on him, and you know, he was really underweight, like I said. So I probably only rode for like 5 minutes, but I did a little walk, trot, canter, and I was like, yep, I like him. So after a while we decided to buy him. I kind of had a hard time riding him consistently late August, early September, because school had just started. So I had a hard time finding a schedule. So I basically just put him in a pasture and let him gain weight, which is what he needed to do anyways. And I would do liberty stuff with him, or just kind of mess with him, and we kind of bonded over this period of time. And in September, I got a new job, which made it even harder to stay consistent with riding him. But I got a little bit more serious about it and made it a priority, even though I had taken a break from riding, at least seriously riding, for a really long time. So I kind of sucked at it, but we were just kind of learning and growing together. And that was something that I really treasured. So he gained a lot of weight in September, like a lot of weight. And so I started riding him a lot more consistently, and he was really nervous and honestly kind of crazy at first. We had a lot of rides that were like just grinder rides that were really sweaty and just hard to push through, but a lot of breakthroughs, and that was something, like those breakthrough moments when I'm riding is something that like I will always treasure. Those are probably the best moments, when you've had a lot of really rough rides and then you have one that's kind of a breakthrough. So I really didn't mind that. I took him to a clinic, and nobody really wanted me to take him because he was kind of still a little bit, you could tell that he had a little bit of holes in his training. I'll just put it that way. So nobody really wanted me to take him, but I took him, and the clinician thought that he was amazing. Nobody in my family wanted me to take him. I'll clarify that. But the clinician thought that he would make a really good horse if I put the work into him. And so I decided to start making him a lot more of a priority, more than I had before, which he was already a priority. So if that says anything. October, he got worms. So it made it really hard because he had gained so much weight in September, and then in October he got worms. He got really, really wormy. Like, he got a really big wormy belly. They kind of ate away, like, all of that weight that he gained. And he was a really hard keeper, like a really, really hard keeper. So it was really hard to keep weight on him. And that just, it made a huge setback. So obviously I dewormed him, and in October all of his worms kind of like disappeared, I guess. So they finally left, and we could focus on him gaining actual weight and not just like false impersonation. So in October, I kind of started doing a lot more research on hard keepers. Not that I wasn't before, but it was like I would just feed him more. But I started doing a lot more research on hard keepers, and I developed a feeding plan for him, and I took him in every night after work. I work 12-hour shifts, so that's saying a lot that I did this. And I made sure that he got fed when I wanted him to get fed every single day. I made special treats for him that were really fatty, so that when I gave him a treat, he would get like the fatty acids. I bought him expensive supplements, just like the omega-3 like oil, not like crazy voodoo supplements or anything. I soaked alfalfa every single day, rice, like everything that you can imagine. Like anything that would come up when you would research like how to make your horse gain weight, I tried and I did. And what ended up working for him was gave him alfalfa and Timothy cubes and about like a cup or two of oil a day, which sounds like a lot, but it is a lot of calories and it's a pretty cheap source of calories. So that's pretty much what he did to gain weight, and it was really working for him. He was still a little bit skinny, but he wasn't near as bad as he was before. So in November, I started getting a lot more serious about riding him, October, November, and I rode him every single morning before school. I started getting my groove back for riding again, and I started getting like as good as I was before I stopped for so long, or at least stopped riding like 6 days a week. I was maybe riding like once every 2 weeks if I was lucky. So I kind of started getting my groove back for riding again, and I got really committed to him. So in December, obviously I continued on with his weight gain, and he started getting a lot better under saddle. So obviously it's kind of hard riding a horse that doesn't really have that much muscle, but I started seeing a lot of progress with him, and he started growing muscle really fast because he was eating so many calories. That had a lot to do with it, but mainly because I was so dedicated to him. But he looked a little funky. I will admit, he did started looking a little funky. He held a lot of his weight in his belly and none of it like anywhere else. So that's why it was so important for me to keep riding him so that he would gain weight in the right places and gain muscle and not just get fat. Because once a horse gets fat off of doing nothing, it's really hard to keep their weight on when they're being worked, if that makes any sense. So I wanted to obviously make him build muscle and develop a plan that would work while he was in work. So it wasn't like I was abusing him. His rides were like 30 minutes. He just, he needed that time to build muscle. And it worked. He started gaining a lot of muscle and he was going phenomenally under saddle. A lot of people thought that he was like a weird looking horse, but I couldn't help but love him. There was just something about him. I don't really know what it was. Maybe it was that like, I don't know. I don't know. But he was the reason that I got back into riding again, and that I didn't keep thinking of riding as, this thing that I just didn't need to be doing anymore, I guess. So I guess my parents saw that I was so dedicated to him, and they kept ingraining it in my head that he was still this project horse for me and my sister, and that he needed to be sold. And a couple days before Christmas they were like, oh, someone's gonna come out to see him. And of course, I guess I understood, but I was really frustrated by it, and I was actually saving money to buy him from them. He really wasn't that expensive. I guess I could say it now. He was $3,500. So I was gonna save that money up. That was a lot of money for me, making $9 an hour. I had full intentions on buying him from my parents and taking over his expenses because I really cared about him that much. And so on Christmas, I had opened up all my presents and I was like, oh, thank y'all so much. And they were like, no, we have one more thing. And I was like, what? And they had me go on this little like makeshift scavenger hunt. It wasn't really a scavenger hunt. It was basically them just following me around the house with a camera saying, go to this place, go to this place. I ended up in the drawer under the stove, and I actually have it. So this is what was there. It was this little card with this picture of Tiny, and I opened it and I was like, oh, it's my Tiny dancer. I didn't really know what it was. I had my suspicions, but I didn't really know. And so I guess they had just taken this picture of him in the pasture, like as they were leaving the house or something, because his pasture is like right by the driveway. And it says, here it is to have and to hold, to love and to cherish, to come for, enjoy and to come for enjoying and sadness, to enjoy as long as you wish, and last but not least, to enjoy the happiness of a financial responsibility. With all love, DJ and Tom. So that's what it looks like. So basically that was just them saying that he was mine and that I was going to be financially responsible for him, which I was totally fine with.
Is that how you spell it?
Yes. No!
What's it say? What's it say? What's the card say?
So, at the end of December, I started taking him to more lessons, and I started getting a lot more serious about it because I knew like that he couldn't basically be taken away from me at any point. I stopped the whole project horse mentality and started putting, I mean, not that I wasn't putting enough effort into it, but I was putting like my whole heart into this horse. Because I really believed in him, and a lot of people had their like doubts about him, but I really truly believed in him, like with everything that I had. I had fancy horses. I had horses, that we brought here from Florida, or that went to WEF and that did all this crazy stuff, but the horses that came from rock bottom have always truly meant the most to me. The horses, that had a sketchy past, or that had some, that nobody else wanted, those have always meant the most to me. And I gave him all of my free time. I stopped going to my boyfriend's house. Every single bit of time that I could dedicate to this horse, I did. So in January 2020, I took him to his first cross-country school, and he was amazing. He didn't even look at anything. They said that, so I said in the beginning of this video that he was an inventor, but I honestly have no clue about his past at all. So I went into it like I would getting a horse from off the track, because I had no idea about his past and what he had truly done, because people lie. So I went into it like it was just a blank slate. And so basically I took him to his first cross-country school, and he was perfect. He barely looked at anything. I body clipped him the next day after that cross-country school so that I could get more serious about riding while he could stay comfortable, because it was really hot in Texas at that time. I was really overprotective over him, I'll admit. I took him inside when it was drizzling because I didn't want him to be cold, because he was body clipped. Obviously, all the other horses, they would be fine, but I was just really protective over him, and I wanted to give him a better life than other people had given him. I took him to lessons nearly every single weekend, or after work, or after school, or any time that I had, and started practicing for shows. So in February, he was basically the best he's ever been going. He lost a lot of, sorry, if I look over here, all my notes are over here, and I don't want to, I want to say everything that I want to say. So he started showing quite a bit of progress and lost a lot of his fat that he was holding in weird places, and he gained a lot of muscle and started looking really good. I took him to his first show and I got 5th in beginner novice out of 6th, but I seriously didn't care about placings. We did a beginner novice combined training, which is just stadium and show jumping. I didn't want to overface him with cross country. I still didn't feel like he was fit enough or even had gained enough weight to make him comfortable doing that, so I just did the little CT. And I wasn't trying to be competitive at all. My friend actually won the class, so I was really happy for her. But I went mainly just to get a really good experience and to get my horse a really good experience. It was just a little show 15 minutes from my house, so I was like, why not? And I actually have his ribbon from that show. My dog chewed it up, so this is what it is. But my sister put it back together. She glued it back together, so that's his little ribbon. Next weekend, I took him to my trainer's barn for the weekend, and we were just we were riding, and I noticed something like a little bit off, and so I got off of him, and then I trotted him up, and he was lame. So I just figured that he had pulled something, you know, as horses do. They tend to want to hurt themselves. So I figured that he'd pulled something, and I poulticed it, and then I just put him in his little pasture so that he could walk on it, and maybe it could heal itself, which is what I hoped, because you know, you have times when you get on and you're like, my horse just doesn't feel quite right today, I'm just gonna get off. And so I poulticed his hock because I could tell that it was coming from something above his hock. I had like in the back of my head that it could be his stifle, but I didn't want to really think that way, so I poulticed his hock. Gave him some bute too to keep him comfortable. But so in March, I decided I was gonna give him some time. I pulled him out of his pasture with his friends, and I put him in a small pasture, and I was gonna see if it got any better. Didn't think it was gonna be anything that serious at all, because he wasn't really trotting up that lame. Like, it was just something was the tiniest bit off, but I had a kind of a bad feeling. So I decided to make a vet appointment and just to do, you know, a usual lameness exam. I was actually going to vlog it so that I could show y'all what a lameness exam would look like, because I genuinely thought that he just needed hock or stifle injections. And so did my vet, because he really didn't trot up that lame. I just wanted to make sure that he was comfortable. We blocked his hock, and then we blocked his stifle. It basically means that you're just trying to see exactly where the pain is coming from. We realized that it might be more than that, so we decided to go ahead and get an ultrasound, and that he would need to stay the night. So I left, I took the trailer home. I basically cried the whole way home because I just didn't have a good feeling about it. He was getting his x-ray or his ultrasound the next day. So I basically texted the vet like as soon as I got out of the gym in the morning, because it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I was like, any news about Tiny? Like, I was just basically a nervous wreck that whole day. And I had a government test too, to make it any better. I mean, I got a good grade on the test, but like, I was so stressed out. I could barely think about government. So on the way home from school, the vet texted me, and he was like, hey, Kinsey, like, can you just call me when you get the chance? And like, you know, when a vet texts you and tells you to call them, that it's bad news. So he called me, and he was like, he just basically said that he had shattered his meniscus, which is in his stifle, and that even with surgery, he probably wasn't gonna fully recover, and that it was probably from a past injury. Tiny did come from a horse trader, which if a horse ends up at a horse trader, it's most likely because someone just pawned them off. So maybe what we think is that he got an injury with his old owner, and they didn't rehab it correctly or at all, and it just, you know, makeshift healed, and that this injury was that old injury getting re-injured, if that makes any sense. And he basically said that Tiny was like a really tough horse, because any other horse would be just dead lame, and Tiny was barely showing any signs of pain. So I ugly cried for pretty much the next hour. The drive home from school is 30 minutes, so I got home and I laid my face in my bed and I cried. And when my mom got home, she saw me crying, and she asked what's wrong, and I said, well, Tiny's career is basically over, and you know, he's never going to be able to get ridden again. So she called the vet to see what was going on, and he said that he sent it to all of his other like vet colleagues and to like review the ultrasound, and they all agreed that it was one of the worst shattered meniscuses they've ever seen, and that surgery on it would probably just be a waste of money. And like, not to say that, but like, that basically he would just end up re-injuring it inevitably, and it would just be a waiting game, and I'm not going to do that to my horse. put him through the intensive rehab just for him to be able to get worked again, and for him to probably still be in pain. And not to mention that, you know, the surgery would be a lot of money in itself. So even with the surgery, there's a chance that he will never be comfortable again, like not even pasture sound. So yeah, basically my mom talked with the vet for a while, and we decided that putting him down was going to be the best decision. We decided that putting him down would be the most ethical decision because of the fact that his injuries were so severe. It was like there was a very little chance that he would ever be comfortable again. So that night we went to the vet, me, my sister, and my mom. And I basically like ugly cried the whole time we were at the vet too. I felt bad for everybody else that was there, but I gave him all the homemade treats that I had left. I gave him alfalfa cubes, like everything. I don't exactly know how to say goodbye to a horse, so I didn't feel like there was anything like I could do but just cry and just pet him and tell him that I loved him, that I was sorry. I took his tail. You know, when a horse passes away, you take their tail. So I didn't have any like rubber bands, so I just used like the vet tape and cut it off. You could see like I was crying, so it's very jagged. But yeah, so I'm have a few ideas on like I guess I can make a bracelet, but I think I'm gonna do a shadow box or something like that with like pictures. And so a few people asked me questions about him, so I guess I'll just go ahead and answer them. I just wanted to clear everything up like in one swoop because it's been like seriously painful for me. Like I don't think I've ever felt this gutted. Like it's not just the fact that I couldn't ride him anymore, because honestly like that, I mean obviously that would suck, but that wasn't the main thing. It was just like that he could never ever be happy again, and well, not happy, like he could never be comfortable again. And I honestly couldn't have lived with myself knowing that I made him go through that. Like that's just not okay. So someone asked, she said, not a tiny question, but I would love to learn more about him and how he impacted your life. So he basically impacted my life in every single way possible, in every single good way possible. I learned so much from him. He taught me so much, and he gave me so much, and he truly, like, he brought back my passion for riding again, which I didn't think was going to be possible. So he made my life so much better, and that's something that I would never change, and I'm so grateful for. Someone said, how old was Tiny? He was 12. And how did his racing career go? He had one start on the track. I'll put his racing name here. It was Bob's Alley King. But yeah, he had one start on the track, so not very good. And then someone just said, you're super strong about everything that went on with him. Thank you. It was really hard. It was very hard. I really didn't think that I was going to be able to like go back to the barn and be happy and like feel comfortable, but I have been, so that's good. Someone said they want to see memories of him, but only if I want to. Oh yeah, I would love to put together, or if anybody wants to put together for me like a video of his like memories and his story, I would love that. But right now, I don't think I could do it. But I mean, I would want to have it, but I don't think I could put it together and like not cry the whole time. That is Tiny's story. His show name, I called him Tiny Dancer. But I just want to say that I do not regret anything that happened with him. He was probably one of the best things that's happened. And I know that everything happens for a reason. And I know that he came into my life for a reason, but I'm still trying to find the reason why he got taken out of it. So I know I said I wasn't going to cry in this video, and I genuinely tried hard not to, but it's just hard. Like, this whole process has been really gutting, and I just want to say thank y'all for all y'all support. on Instagram and Facebook, and again, this video will never ever be monetized, but I just kind of wanted to have Tiny's story out there because he was so special to me and so special to a lot of the people in my life. Full intentions on doing a video like this about his story when he was still alive, because to me it was so inspirational to see a horse go from like nothing to something actually really cool, and he inspired me a lot. Hope y'all enjoyed hearing about Tiny's story. I'm still so proud of him. So yeah. Please don't feel bad for me, by the way. This is not to get sympathy. That's the last thing I want. I just want people to, know more about him and know that he did not deserve a thing that this cruel world gave him. I hope I gave him the best 6 months ever. But just know that I'm doing okay. I'm still riding. I'm doing a lot better. Obviously, I still have my moments, like this is obviously one of them, but it's getting easier with time. And I guess in a way, like, I didn't want it to be getting easier because, like, I guess it's like if the pain is still there, then a bit of him is still there with me, but that's like such a weird way of thinking, but I don't know. I don't even know if that makes any sense, but yeah. I'm doing better. I'm keeping myself busy. So I guess this can just serve as a reminder to enjoy every single second that you have with your horses, because you never know when they're going to be ripped away from you, which I guess it sounds kind of brutal, but that's how I felt about it. So if y'all take anything away from this video, just hug your ponies a little bit tighter and let them know how much you appreciate them. So yeah, hope y'all have a great day, and goodbye.